was just wondering, and you know how I hate bringing up the Neon Crew podcast over and over again, so I'm hoping we can just settle this right now. I was just wondering if I could have a gun or a long sword, like longer than what I got now, because the setup now, dude, is not snagging those co-hosts, and they are running buck wild on my various DVDs and approved Blu-rays. Because it might not feel like it indoors, but when you're sleeping outside, it gets pretty cold at night.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be an interesting one to talk about.
It's going to be very interesting to talk about. Let's Start a Cult, the movie that you recommended. Yeah. But before we get into that, hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 99 of the Neon Crew podcast. My name is Kyle.
I'm Mac.
And we've got some movies to talk about. But first, I want to ask you,
okay,
have you seen the Christopher Nolan teaser for the Odyssey?
Have not.
Because I went and saw Superman in IMAX, full disclosure.
Humble brag.
Thank you. It was a very humbling experience to go and see Superman on the big old screen, David Cornsweat flying his way towards my face. And before they played the movie, they had the previews, and this was a thing for Jurassic World when it was coming out. Mm-hmm. Because Jurassic World, a Universal movie, Christopher Nolan has now aligned himself with Universal after having that rift with Warner Brothers. And they had a thing going where, if you go and see Jurassic World Rebirth, I believe it's what it's called.
Yep.
Can't keep track of these fucking subtitles all the
Rebirth
time.
Rebirth is the part that I remember.
Right. If you go and see this movie, in the previews, you'll get to see a teaser trailer for The Odyssey, directed by Christopher Nolan. As a way to, generate hype or whatever. And I thought to myself, am I really going to have to go see Jurassic World Rebirth just to go watch this trailer in theaters? No. Turns out, after about a week or so, they're just like, fuck it. Put it in whatever movie we can slot it into that's out and that people are watching. And before Superman played, they played the preview for The Odyssey.
Okay.
And if you ever decide to watch it, I'll be very curious your thoughts. They don't show much, obviously.
Yeah.
It's a voiceover. I want to say from John Leguizamo talking about Odysseus, narrating the myth of his journey. And it's Tom Holland and John Bernthal in a room. And John Bernthal's doing his John Bernthal thing where he's like, "You think you know the story of Odysseus?" And it cuts to what appears to be Matt Damon on a raft just in the middle of the sea.
Bearded Matt Damon?
I think so.
Okay.
I think he's got some like haggard looks going on.
Mission to Mars. He rocks like a really grotesque beard. Vibe with it.
Yeah. Mission to Mars or The Martian?
The Martian.
I was going to say Mission to Mars is the Gary Sinise movie.
Yep.
A lot of Mars films. Maybe we'll talk about The Martian one day.
It's funny because that movie, you said Mission to Mars, and immediately the ending popped into my head, and I got confused. I mean, like just sitting here pondering it.
To be fair, anybody experiencing that ending will just naturally be confused anyway.
Yeah,
because it's the ending to Mission to Mars. But no, I thought it was a very effective trailer. I'm glad I got to see at least a snippet of it in IMAX because I guess Christopher Nolan filmed the entire movie in IMAX. Something that I don't think has ever really been done before because IMAX cameras are so cumbersome and loud.
Nope. I thought the guy did it for Nope, Jordan Peele.
Did he do Nope in entirely IMAX?
I thought so.
I'll have to look into that. But
I've heard I feel like every 5 years they go, it's filmed entirely in IMAX. No one's ever completed this before.
Right.
It's like trying to get hyped up. And I'm like, I feel like I've heard a Nolan film doing that before.
Because I think Dunkirk was like mostly IMAX. Mm-hmm. The problem is that they're so loud that trying to film dialogue with them is near impossible without dubbing the entire scene.
Wow. It's the Nolan quality sound mixing. I mean, every time
I really do think that's the origin of a lot of it. And I'm wondering how it'll be with this movie in which, there's not going to be any like planes or vehicles or anything. It's fucking the Odyssey. It's going to be mostly like ships and rocks and whatever.
You're going to hear the waves crashing and everyone's going to be like sitting back in their seat, like can't handle it. It's like trying to get it as far away from the audio as possible. And then Damon's going to say something and the whole audience leans in because they can't hear it.
Yeah, they're like, what? Excuse me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Odysseus? Did you say something about the Cyclops?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I guess we'll see.
The teaser trailers I'm never really huge on. Actually I'll say the only teaser I've ever really seen that I was like, oh, I cannot wait for this trailer was The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
They did
that was that for a lot of people.
Yeah, they did the Joker laugh or something like that. They had like 2 pieces of dialogue and then like and then that hysterical laugh, and that was it. And I was like, oh, I cannot wait to see how this looks. But outside of that, I don't know if teaser trailers really.
Well, they did the same thing with Suicide Squad, didn't they? They like kind of teased the Joker, and then you get a little snippet of him at the end going
Yeah. The Leto one, Leto.
Yeah, where he sent his coworkers like boxes of pig balls or whatever.
Love that, tapping in, right? And then you just found out he's the douche.
Oh, I'm a method actor. I am the Joker. It's like, maybe you're just a freak. I don't know. There's something wrong loose there. Yeah, there's something missing.
Jared's
in the DNA
a little
of this.
too into himself.
What do you think about to pivot to the Jared Leto of it all? Because I'm assuming you've seen a preview for the Tron Ares movie, and I think we even talked about it for like our upcoming like anticipated movies of this year.
They played it for one of the movies I saw at the GH9. I don't mind him in like small. He's got a really weird look to him. So when he ever plays like a demon, like Blade Runner 2049, I don't think he had too much of a prominent role, if I remember right.
No, he's not like. I wouldn't say he's the villain, but he's a nefarious figure.
Yes, but when he plays those types and there's not a whole lot of him, he's got a presence around him that especially embodies evil.
Yeah, I think Denis Villeneuve used him probably the best that he's been used since maybe Requiem for a Dream, where this guy is just like kind of creepy cult energy.
Yep.
And so we need that for big tech bro god complex person.
Played it well.
Played it very well.
Like I when he is I'm trying to think of like a garnishment that you could have that you're like, too much of it really annoys me, but if I can hit just the right amount, it's delicious.
He's like the basil on a dish.
Yeah.
You don't want to go overboard. Otherwise you're just chewing on leaves.
Maybe, like a wasabi sauce.
Yeah.
The right amount of wasabi can really itch that scratch, but too much and your nose starts flaring.
Because he's not inert. He's not someone who doesn't influence a movie in some way.
Agreed. Like whether good or bad.
Right. Yeah,
like,
for better or worse.
I'm trying to think of the Denzel movie that he's in that I'm like, he's really just trying to lean into being creepy guy.
Oh, The Little Things?
Yeah.
A movie I haven't seen.
Okay. Yeah. He's like leaning into this role really hard, and it's like, this feels almost unnatural for what should be natural to you.
Yeah.
You know? And then I'm trying to, like, there's been a couple other movies where it's just he's in it too much. Get him away from me.
Sometimes it works like for something like in Panic Room where he plays someone who's kind of meant to be like a snotty asshole who's trying too hard. And then for something like Requiem for a Dream, a movie that I hope to talk about one day on this podcast.
God, I don't want to watch that one again.
I feel like he brings such a annoying intensity to that movie that works really well.
Yeah, and it's there's enough action going on with the other storylines where he's not the focal point.
You're not getting an overdose of him. So, not to make a pun. Truly didn't mean that, but I guess it just happened that way. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, so we'll see. I think the Tron Ares one, the trailer I saw was very much like, okay, I think this is reminiscent of Tron Legacy when it first came up. Except it looks like they're bringing it into the real world, which I always love when they're kind of crossing.
Yeah, I think that's interesting.
Yeah,
I especially like how they're very much promoting the soundtrack, because
is that still Daft Punk?
It's 9 Inch Nails.
Oh, Trent Reznor.
Yeah, which is funny because they're not advertising it as Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross like whenever they do a Fincher movie. It's like, no, this is 9 Inch Nails. And say what you will about Tron Legacy, a movie I haven't seen since I saw it in theaters in like 2010.
Yep.
But a lot of people universally agree that the best thing about that movie is the soundtrack. And it seems that trend is continuing in this movie.
That movie's got a vibe of very, not neo-noir. I'm trying to think of our
Very kind of like cyberpunk.
cyberpunk. Yes, it's a very cyberpunky vibe, and especially if you can hit the music with that vibe, it gives it just brings a richness to it. So
Yeah, because if
it's
you get
weird
it
that it
wrong,
was
people will point it out to you.
yeah, well, those that are really into the cyberpunky universe,
Yeah.
you know, and then the people that aren't are like the it feels off or skewed. It's funny too because I think Tron Legacy was a Disney movie, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, and I thought that was very. It's when you kind of look back, it's like not ahead of its time, but definitely feels like it's above market,
Yeah.
you know, or above the demographic that it's. You hear Disney, you're thinking 9 to 14.
Because I feel like a part of why it didn't stick in my memory when I saw it, it was 2010, so I would have been like 14, 15 maybe. So I was old enough to see it, but I remember from the marketing thinking they're really kind of pushing like the Disney of this film.
Yeah.
For it to be released, and then I watch it and it's a little bit more not like adult oriented, but just like, oh, there's a little bit more maturity to this movie than I expected, I guess.
Noir, I mean, it's a little bit sophisticated presence around it.
And
right?
then it also didn't help that my impression of the franchise was just like the original movie with the funny graphics and kind of how cheesy it was.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't think that helped contribute to my perception of it either. So I'd be curious to rewatch it whenever Tron Ares comes out, and we can maybe discuss it.
Pair them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I rewatched it. God, I want to say like a year or two ago. I threw it on like trying to find a movie with Preston, and like he ended up falling asleep, or he did not get into it. I'll just say that with whatever happened. And I remember I had it on. I'm sitting there. I was like in the recliner. I'm like, all right, lean back, like kind of getting into this. You know, it is more sophisticated. So like you attach Disney to it. You're thinking simple storyline, plot structure, with limited emotions attached besides joy and glee, right?
Yeah.
And that whole movie is kind of downer. It's a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah, it's kind of moody. It's very dark and
Angsty,
just like
yeah.
You're in this like ethereal like void of the virtual world.
And the movie starts off with him, like taking back whatever like we're trying to sell.
Yeah.
It's like that software programming, and he's like, I'm giving it to the people, so it's very, down with the corporation.
It's very much kind of like a darker cyberpunky version of Ready Player One in a way.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Well, speaking of
100%.
Ready Player One, that movie was pretty successful when it came out. And you want to know what was also a movie that was successful? Sinners.
Let's do it.
Hell yeah. So I will introduce this movie if you want to get...
Lucky you.
Let's start. Oh, Mac, don't show your hand. A vampire might bite it.
Yeah. Oh.
If you show your hand, they might try to give you money, and then you'll bite their arm.
Or the smokestack twins will take you down.
Yeah, they're coming back from Chicago, and they're coming back heavy and loaded with cash. So Sinners is a movie that came out this year. We're a little bit late to the discussion of this film, admittedly, but we weren't sure if we were going to have time to cover this movie, and I'm glad that we have found the episode to discuss this.
This came out the same weekend Warfare came out, so it was kind of choose one or the other, and I don't think that this was, at least from the trailer, and we can go into it, but there wasn't a whole lot of reception around it until it actually came out. And I was really pumped for Warfare, so I was like, let's do Warfare over Sinners, because I don't know, like, this could be a pitfall,
right,
with it. So that's why we're a little late on this.
Yeah. So we've got a movie that is written and directed by Ryan Coogler and stars Michael B. Jordan as two characters, Elijah Smokemore and Elias Stackmore, otherwise known as the Smokestack Twins. And they are characters who, after a stint in Chicago, come back to their hometown in, I want to say, Mississippi, right?
Yeah, I don't remember the exact name of the town.
Clarksdale, Mississippi.
Yes.
And they return with some cash in hand to buy an old, an old sawmill?
Yep.
and they retrofit it into a juke joint, a place where they can party, they can sell drinks, they can have live music, and whatever other business they want to put under the roof of their establishment. They employ the help of their cousin, played by Miles Canton, Samuel Sammy Moore, who is a blues musician who's aspiring to become famous from his music. You've also got Haley Steinfeld as Mary, Stack's ex-girlfriend. And you've got Wunmi Mosaku as Annie, Smoke's partner, who they have a sort of a troubled past together, but their bond is still strong.
Yes.
And they start this party, and throughout the night, relationships form, dynamics play out, and then all of a sudden, this little Irish boy named Remick comes up with his two friends and is like, "Hey, we heard your music. Can we come in?" And the Smokestack twins are a little hesitant to let him in, for reasons that we will very much soon find out. So, spoilers for Sinners. So, like I said, we were a little bit late in discussing this movie. This came out in mid-April, and this came out at, I think, the exact right time it needed to for this film to be successful, because it was really the first film that kind of left an impression this year. And I remember in March when Mickey 17 and Black Bag were coming out, people were talking about, oh no, is this like the death knell for movie theaters? Is this the death knell for Hollywood? Like, movies aren't making money anymore, man. We're shaking in our boots.
Yeah.
And I feel like that conversation always comes and goes. There's always this kind of like hand wringing around, do we need to like factor the success of movies solely based on box office and movie theaters? Is this the end for everything? And then, of course, this movie comes out and just absolutely steamrolls. Budget of $100 million, I want to say, like the later estimates, and then makes $365 at the box office, which is pretty damn good. And I saw this movie. This is my second time seeing it.
Okay.
So the first time I saw it was in theaters. I unfortunately didn't see it in IMAX. This was a movie that, you want to talk about promoting it as a film you need to see in IMAX. This was very much kind of marketed that way. And I saw it in a normal theater, so I didn't have time to go out and see it on the biggest screen, but I saw it on the big screen nonetheless. And I liked it the first time I saw it. I thought it was good. It was not a movie that I fell in love with. A lot of people around me were like, this is the best film of the year. And while I don't think I disagreed with them, it was one that I was like, yeah, this is a good movie. I had a fun time with it and didn't really think too much of it. And I think part of that was I'm someone who usually believes that if you rewatch a movie, it goes down smoother, just because, one, you know more of what to expect, and two, you might catch things that you didn't necessarily pick up on the first time.
Depending on the film. Yeah.
Right.
If you enjoyed it the first time, generally the second time it will go down smoother because you're able to disassociate a little bit with everything happening and pick up the points that you missed.
And the second factor of that is I had subtitles on this time, and that really helped me contextualize a lot of relationships that I might not have picked up on the first time, or just like context clues of things that I like suspected was the case, which were now confirmed after watching this. It's like, oh yeah, there was more of a build up to this than I initially gave it credit for.
Yeah.
And I fully came around to thinking that this movie is great. I think that this is a fantastic film. I absolutely fell in love with like the gothic tone of it all, like the kind of southern gothic vampire mythos that it was building, and really appreciated the consistency that it built towards that climactic end. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious your thoughts. So I'm assuming that this is the one and only time you've seen this movie.
Yeah, we saw it came out on it got released to HBO, saw it pop up, and that's why I was like, oh, this will be an easy one that I can throw on later.
So maybe there will be a little bit of relevance with us talking about it, since people can now watch it at home.
That was like, little tangent was, all right, if we struggle getting a movie in theaters, we should find out like what just hit streaming, because I think there's a little bit of a rebirth for everyone that didn't catch it in theaters. Like, there is at least for me, some genuine excitement when I see something that I didn't see that I was looking forward to pop up that's now accessible for streaming. So that's what happened with this one. I'm gonna say, like, I saw the trailer for this thing, and I don't know if this thing got pushed back a little bit. I feel like this is another trailer. I saw at least 4 months worth of, trailers on it, and the lasting image is Michael B. Jordan with this Tommy gun shooting at this stuff, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. This feels like a really lame kind of a chicanery sort of mob scheme going on, with like just really I'm losing some of my words, and I don't want to say fantastical, but like cinematically done, right? Very stylized.
Yeah,
it's going to be kind of like that Ryan Gosling movie, that Gangster Squad. Like, I was thinking, like, all right, this is a Deep South version of that.
Is this going to be like a mob movie that we've seen a million times, just shot really well?
Yeah, and the whole Remick thing does pop up, and I'm like, I don't know. This feels like maybe some Jim Crow stuff starts coming in, and all of a sudden it's there's some racial tension. This plays more into politics. So that was like first thoughts. I was like, I'm not excited about this. And then I started hearing some reviews and spoilers for Sinners. The vampire angle gets released. I'm like, oh, okay, like that this could be interesting. Now I really don't have like a build up for this. I don't know where this could possibly go. So watching it for the first time, I mean, this is a very well done movie. This Coogler guy has some style around him. I think some of his heritage plays into some of the stuff, and he really has I think he does a good job nailing. And you don't want to just throw around vibe, but there are some cinematic elements to this, constructed with the music and the clothing design, and the sets. And he's dipped into like Wakanda, and he's also done the Apollo Creed stuff.
Yep.
And it's fun seeing these movies, and kind of, it's not necessarily dipping into different genres. Just what he's able to do and kind of keep the momentum and the tone going. So that it was really refreshing watching this. I think this is another one of those original takes we talk on with horror films about using maybe being more metaphorical or anecdotal with trying to represent some other things going on with it. Obviously talking, with metaphors and anecdotes, but not necessarily playing straight for horror.
Yeah.
Right. And, this was one of the more creative, it felt kind of like original movies that I had seen. Very stylized though, and those two usually don't go hand in hand,
right?
I
appreciate that this movie has so much kind of purpose and thematic weight behind it.
Yes,
for something that you can also enjoy as just like a genre thriller, like a kind of gothic genre thriller. I read that a lot of his inspiration for this movie was from like Brian De Palma and like Quentin Tarantino specifically. And I think about From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
That movie that he wrote with Robert Rodriguez directing.
I thought it was a straight ripoff at like once they got into the juke joint, and the vampires are coming at some point.
Right.
It's like, is this turning into Dust? And it at the same token though, I'm not saying, whoa, pump the brakes. This is straight plagiarism. Do we got IP infringement going on? I was like,
right.
All right, this seems like a fun take on it, but it's more so. Go on.
Well, my ultimate point was going towards the fact that as much as I appreciate From Dusk Till Dawn and like the things that it does, I like that movie ultimately. It very much is kind of, it's going to be a vampire killing slaughter movie after a certain point. And you're not going to like think too much about anything else going on.
Straight cinematic purposes of that film.
Right. Everything's mostly visual. Whereas this movie, I appreciate the fact that they managed to do that similar type of thing while also having a lot going on with the themes and the messages, and it all kind of like ties back in a very kind of neat and satisfying way, in a way that makes sense within the context of the story, and in a way that really kind of impacts you when you pick that stuff up. It's like, oh yeah, this ends in a satisfying way because narratively it's cool. I like the fact that they fight against the vampires, and there's some really great scenes of that.
Yep.
But I also love the fact that you've got sibling dynamics. You've got cultural dynamics with the West Africans and the Irish, and all that stuff going on. You've got the Ku Klux Klan coming in.
Yeah.
That was teased earlier in the film. There's so much packed into this that it truly does feel like an epic thriller, where it's like, yeah, this has some weight to it in a way that doesn't feel like it's overstretching itself or like, you know, making itself this like grandiose thing.
Yeah.
Like it's simple enough, but the things that are in there have substance.
Yeah, it's not like the Captain America where it's pulling so many different themes and plugging it into it with some of the racial plights that are taking place.
Let's see if this one works this time.
Yeah.
We're going to tap on the screen and maybe you guys will pick up on the fact that Red Hulk's got anger issues.
Yeah. Like it's, there's they seem to connect some of the, like there seems to be a stretching of time, right? We're spanning time, and I like that they use the vampires as a representation, a little bit of stretch, like I shouldn't say as a representation of stretching time, but like how, as they progress along with history, right, they get to see the different elements, and you kind of see that at the end of the film. Whereas in this, he's using music as a way of, saying that this is one of the things that we've had that will continue on and we will continue to influence. And I like that there was a certain parallel between the two, and also how music does impact, the creatures of the night.
Yeah.
And I like how it's a fun way to incorporate a theme with what the antagonist is presenting, right? Like, how do we attach this as we carry on this theme with also making it somewhat a point of conflict with what's going on, right? And not just thrown in and bantied about or discussed, right? I mean, it's very prevalent as you go on, and it's really the connecting force between the two groups.
Because this movie could have easily just been like, oh, an evil group of vampires want to get in, and that's it.
That's Dusk Till Dawn.
But
right?
Adding the musical element of not just what the characters that we like are doing, but also the antagonists, really adds that dynamic to it that is just, to me, very, very fun. Mm-hmm. And also, like, you get to think about the greater implications of, like, why did they choose an Irish character to be this sort of representation? And you think back to history in the United States and how you learn about Irish immigrants were treated almost as poorly as black people during that time. And
even Native Americans,
right? And you get a little bit of that in the intro when they talk about the three different tribes: the indigenous, West African, and Irish. And I do enjoy the fact that the motivation for the villain in this movie is more or less a sense of kinship, like a sense of understanding of, hey, we've all suffered, we've all gone through these terrible, terrible things, but the solution is to just join us and not let the hatred of before divide us as people. When, obviously, like, they're vampires and their souls are going to be damned, and there's going to be this horrible implication if they do decide to assimilate their culture that way.
Right.
But I do like that it's framed in a way that's not like pure evil. Like, it's
that's what I was going to ask. Like, did you have an issue at all as, Remek's starting to get more family members and they're posing it in this light of, this isn't that bad. Obviously, there's going to be not horrific things that happen, but things you can't do, right? Like, if you assimilate with our group, like, you will live forever, right? But you won't ever see the sunrise again or the sunset, and like, his plight wasn't, it's evil, but like, I'm watching it and I was kind of laughing, like, all right, this isn't necessarily where I am. We've got to kill this guy and save all these people, like, and this and that, is more of, boy, this is just a flawed creature, essentially, that's it's looking to, I mean, and he talks about his family, but it didn't feel as if it was for gains, right? It's not transactional. Like, he talking about building his family. That's the one thing that I guess I'm going to ask you about is, what did you think about him trying to enlarge his group without having any sort of means to an end around it?
I feel like it was this sense of that vampiristic, insatiable thirst for not just blood but also power.
Okay.
Because we do see that there is a connection between him and the other vampires. They feel like a similar sense of pain when he gets hurt and vice versa. And I feel like it's one of those things where you're trying to heal this sense of hurt that you feel inside. And for the Smokestack twins, it's getting this juke joint together and getting people to sing and dance and, escape from their troubles from Chicago and kind of like implement this idea that like, yeah, we're all getting along, everything's good, and doing it that way. Whereas Remic's way is, I'm going to violently make you join our like cause or, clan or like whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it's just never going to stop. Like, it's going to be that thing of, like, he's got this hurt inside of him from this sense of, like, not belonging, persecution, whatever you want to call it. And his form of that is continuing to hurt people so that they can feel the same way he did. I feel like that's why a lot of the vampires share those feelings. And
right.
There's this, like, kind of sense of, like, not hive mind, but just, like, yeah, there's this communal sense of personality.
There's a little bit of a uniformity that we're all able to get around each other with a commonality, and that being the pain and the suffrage of what we're experiencing going through this time.
Yeah, it's under the veneer of like fellowship, but in reality, it's like you're never going to find peace again if you become a vampire.
It's like a cult.
Yeah, very much like a cult.
Yeah, that's a good point. That was one of the things that I guess why it wasn't go get them, go kill those assholes, all that, the rock, like in Dusk Till Dawn or any other usually vampire action-y film where there's not a lot going on or representation. It's always, you've got to take them out or you won't survive. And with this one, it was like, all right, I kind of understand what he's talking about and where he's going with this. So, like, while I don't agree with it, there is a level of sympathy from me watching this, in the audience, and I guess it makes it a little bit more rich too, as like, you're going along with this. That it's not necessarily, a hero's journey per se, right? Or it's a inherently evil person that's done all these wrong things. Like, you can kind of, you get a glimpse of it even in times now of communities that are formed because of suffrage.
No, it feels very kind of storybook in the way it's set up, sort of like this idea that kind of like how the intro to the movie is this illustrative exposition of, there were these three tribes and their common cultural flagship is this sense of music, and like that brings community together, and you can conjure spirits of the past and the future, but you can also conjure something dangerous.
Yeah.
And it very much kind of feels like it's structured like one of those stories you would read in school of like, oh, this culture believes in this type of spirit, and this is what will happen if like X plus B equals Y or what. Like, this is the result of like the different possibilities of these tribes like interacting and coming together, while also still functioning as like, yeah, this is a cool narrative that I can follow these characters on, and I care about what happens to them more or less.
Yeah.
So let's get into the performances. What did we think of Michael B. Jordan and Michael A. Jordan, surprise twin brother?
I maybe not surprise.
So I want to ask you this, because when I saw the trailer for this, calling back to trailer experiences before this movie came out, I feel like they hid the fact that he was playing two characters, at least initially, because when I first saw the trailer for this movie, I had a similar thing of like, oh, cool, like kind of genre vampire movie set in like the Jim Crow era. Yeah. And we're going to get to see some like cool old-timey kills.
You picked up on vampire movie from the trailer?
I think, I read about it later after the fact.
Okay.
But I knew there was like some kind of like spooky horde element to it, whether it was like vampires or they were like possessed by demons or whatever.
Lovecraft County is what I was thinking it was going to be going more towards.
I don't think I know what that is. Is that a show?
H.P. Lovecraft. Am I thinking of the right? He did the kind of the monsters in
like
in
Cthulhu
America.
And
Yeah. So I was thinking it was kind of dangling around those lines. I have not seen Lovecraft County, but I've heard about it, and there's a lot of alternate universe, and you know, there's different types of monsters and all this stuff within the realm of where you're living. So it's a little bit more fantastical, I guess.
Right.
So,
and there were later trailers that came out that I was like, oh, he's playing two characters. He's playing like twin brothers. The first trailer I saw for this didn't indicate that at all to me. So I didn't know initially.
I knew, but
interesting.
Because it depends on when you saw it. Like I said, I feel like they had trailers for this thing going on for 4 or 5 months. So I can't sit there and say the first time I saw it. I'm telling like the first time I know that I saw this trailer, I wrote this movie off. Mm-hmm. That was my direct feeling with this thing was, all right, they're trying to go into a certain realm. I don't know if this is going to get pulled off. And I do remember the opening of the trailer was Michael B. Jordan with, you know, his smoking stack. And they were both on that car. And I was like, all right, like we got a Parent Trap situation going on in this like alternate universe that he's gonna have to kick ass. Like this is, and it was so stylized. The trailer was. I was like, this feels like we're trying to do like a horror version of Gangster Squad, where we're gonna be set in the 1920s, but we're gonna have current day music going on, and it's gonna be all these like smash cuts and like, you know, cinematography out your ass. So. But no, I was ready for it. I didn't know how prevalent it would be. It felt like one of those things where they were going to kill off one of the twins very early on.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know how long he can maintain this.
But no, I think they do a good job of
fantastic
keeping that dynamic fresh. And
I liked both of them. I mean, I liked both. It's funny when you watch them like that and you can separate the two characters with kind of their motives and their personality. And I think it really reflects on the acting that like Michael B. Jordan's a treasure, man. Like I don't think I'm gonna rush out to see one of his films, but I am ashamed of myself being like seeing him going like we're not in good hands with this, and then having him come out and absolutely deliver with both of them.
Yeah,
like,
no, he kills it.
Like they're both separated, right? Like when you're watching that, you can tell who Smoke and Stack are.
Yeah,
and like you see a different person within what you're watching.
If you told me. Or like if I didn't know that Michael B. Jordan was just one person, and that
someone comes up and he goes, he's got a twin, and you watch this, do you believe him?
Yeah, like if I didn't know any better, yeah,
that's what I'm like.
Because this movie does it so seamlessly,
and then they walk out and they're like, that was one guy. Your reaction's going, shut up.
Yeah, and he's effectively playing two different characters that are different enough, but obviously you can still tell there's a dynamic there. There's an established relationship in which these guys are in sync more or less.
They were nurtured in kind of the same dynamic, so there are some crossover within their quirks or personality traits, right? And just how they were raised, but also you can see the differences on where they've gotten to in life now with how they view their outlook.
Yeah, because Stack is sort of the more nefarious one.
Yep.
He feels like he's got a little bit more of an edge to him. And
he's the salesman of the crew.
Yeah, Smoke is more of like the haunted, kind of like military-oriented one. Where he doesn't take any bullshit.
He's the businessman of the crew.
Yeah.
So he's he's straight and narrow.
Yeah.
And then Stack was a little bit more on the outskirts of life, but both of them share that, you know, whatever happened with their father and their outlook towards, you know, America, current day America in their times.
Miles Catton as Sammy, I thought was really good too. His voice is fantastic.
He's got a voice. I was neither here or there. I thought he did fine. Yeah, as being a young actor.
I think the second watch for me really kind of warmed him up to me. But then again, I feel like most aspects of this movie, watching this the second time, more or less just helped with the things that I felt a little bit more shaky on.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you right now, the first time that I watched this, my rating was more reflective of I had a good time. There are some things I didn't care for. Like, I thought that the pacing was a little off the first time I watched it. I wasn't a fan of how rushed the final act of the movie felt, at least to me at the time.
If you're expecting that build up, right, that the action sequences, right, like you're expecting a little bit more of that.
And there felt like there was a little bit of an inconsistency between the editing and maybe some of the character motives, but a lot of that was mitigated on this viewing because one, I could watch it with subtitles, so now I understand what everybody's goal was, and two, this went down so much smoother, especially that last act.
Yeah.
And, we can get into that more later, but also Jack O'Connell as Remick.
He was great.
He's having quite the year.
Dude, so there's another podcast I listened to, and they were talking about him in a film, and I'm like, what film was he in? What were they talking about? Like, I just heard Jack O'Connell get brought up so many times. I don't recognize him from anything else, right? And I'm like, what was the film? Because we watched it, right?
We did. We talked about it.
Yeah,
last episode.
Yeah, and he's literally in like the last, 40 seconds of it. So.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I don't want to give that away, but unless you're the biggest Jack O'Connell fan, but I looked and then I saw it. I go, oh my god! And he was fantastic in the suit. I thought everyone knocked it out of the park, besides one person that I was like, little too thick.
Well, let's get into it. Who's the outlier?
Did you have an outlier?
I have one little kind of like hiccup in what I otherwise consider a pretty pristine performance movie.
Okay, so no, mine was Haley Steinfeld.
Really?
Yeah,
you weren't a fan.
Could not get behind. What
was it about her performance that wasn't ringing for you? Because I will tell you, I enjoyed her in this movie. I thought she had great chemistry with Michael B. Jordan.
Yes.
I think that her being in this film accomplished what needed to be accomplished. And I really, my favorite moment of her in this movie is when it's after she kills Stack, and she's got blood all over her face and she's got the glowing eyes or whatever.
Yep.
Her delivering the line, "We're going to kill every last one of you," was so effectively unsettling
Chilling.
to me. Yeah, it worked. It absolutely worked. Especially like this second time viewing it. Because the first time I was like, yeah, it works in the tapestry of this movie, kind of blends in with everything else. Like that second time watching it, that moment to me stood out as like, yeah, that's a great line delivery.
I think it's more of the backstory there. So I don't want to make this about myself or what I've seen, right?
No, go for it. This is you're half of the Neon Crew podcast.
I know.
You can make it about you as much as you want.
There's a certain element of going to an urban school and being around a different culture for 4 years of my life, and kind of like in sort of like adolescence to it's a maturing state, right? So there's a lot of impacts that you have, and you do see different characteristics just where people are raised at and brought up at. So for me, with her, I was like, she feels like she's laying it on so thick, right? And then when her backstory gets dropped about how her mom, helped out Smoke and Stack and how they're very influential, it made more sense. So like at the beginning of this film with her, I was not on board, right? I just felt like I was like, I really don't know where she's coming from. I don't get their relationship. It doesn't make much sense of how she's interwoven with
maybe
this community.
Feels a little too wedged in there.
Yes, like it felt so ham-fisted, right? And I don't know, I don't know if they're trying to bridge a gap here or if this is to make it a little bit more modernized. Because also, I didn't grow up in 1920s Mississippi with Jim Crow law, so I don't know how everyone interacted. You
didn't grow up in that time?
I did not.
Oh man, I thought you were like.
Fortunately, I did not.
I thought you were like 102 years old.
Yeah, Remick. But
I mean, you look good for that age.
As time goes on in the film and learning more about her character, I did start getting more behind it.
Okay.
And so like, and then eventually, like once she kind of turns into a vampire, I was completely fine with it. And and her going out to the, hey, I'm white, they're white, I'll go see what's going on. They'll tell me what's up, and her oh shit moment was pretty priceless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think she's about the only one though that I did not get behind.
Okay. I'll tell you mine, and it's nothing that affects how I feel about this movie overall. It's very small. It's honestly only even like one line delivery, but Buddy Guy as the older version of Sammy.
Oh, come on.
Is that he was fine. I liked his presence in this movie. I thought he was good overall. He has like one line delivery, and I can't even remember what the line was, but when he said it, it was just a little more of like taking me out of the movie, reminding me that like, oh yeah, this is this is just a real guy. This guy isn't an actor.
That's it's funny that you say that because that guy popped up and I was like, is this the Sammy's character? Is this a real person? Like, I don't know. Like, we're transcending time here. This guy feels like this was a real thing. So I looked it up and actually he just passed away not too long ago.
He did not. He is still alive. I don't know who you were looking up, but it wasn't.
Maybe it was a person so that Buddy Guy is the actor, right?
Yes,
I believe. Can you look to see if the Sammy is a real person?
Sammy Moore, Preacher Boy.
Yeah, because I think maybe there was someone. I was looking this up, and it was either Sammy Moore was real or he was based on this person, and that person actually just passed away in 2025 from operational malfunctions or whatever in surgery or something like that.
Tell me why when I type Sammy Moore character in Google, it tells me Sammy Moore is a character from Dora and the Lost City of Gold.
Well, maybe that's more research than Sinners. Or he's not a real person. I'm trying to think. I don't know what I read then. Maybe I'll be able to find it, but
yeah, because Wikipedia is usually pretty good about updating whenever famous people pass away. I will say, though, he is pretty fucking old. My guy is 88. And, George Buddy Guy is an actual blues artist and was, obviously heavily influential on, like, Chicago blues and influenced people like Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan and Keith Richards.
Well, that's some of that blues angle is there's a lot of... even the Beatles, like the Beatles were stealing songs. There's a lot of copyright infringement, copyright problems that like African Americans experience as they were kind of coming up to the record dealers, because people would come in and pluck those tunes straight off of African Americans, and then they would if they took them to court, obviously they didn't have any money,
right?
And I think that was one of the things that was kind of being spoken to throughout this as well, is how music has transcended time from that community and their culture and how it has impacted future generations. And it also reminds me of with the I guess I want to say copyright infringement, but I don't necessarily know what happens when you steal music, what it's called.
Right. It makes that idea that them having their music in their time of like celebrating their culture really makes it impactful when Mac is showing me something. Samuel David Moore, an American singer who was best known as a member of the soul and R&B group Sam and Dave from 1961 to 1981, passed away this January at 89 years old.
So I don't know if that's who they were. It might just be happenstance.
It might just be coincidence. I mean,
yeah,
they might have named the character after this person.
I don't know. That's what I thought. I thought it was very interesting that there was a Samuel Moore and that he was a singer-songwriter. Mm-hmm. Anyways, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're good.
I knew I read it somewhere.
Where I was building with that was just that the music that they celebrate and that they play in the jukebox, the fact that the Irish vampires, Remick specifically, want to share that with them, air quotes share that, feels like it's also this idea of they want to like take it from them and have it as their own. There's like a possessiveness there.
Did you find it funny that they were singing these like really shitty folktale songs?
Pick poor Robin clean.
Yeah.
Pick poor Robin clean.
I did like that
I
song.
ate the head and I ate the feet. I'd ate his body, but there wasn't much meat.
I love that. And then when he gets the whole family there and he's out there singing his Irish song. Like,
the Irish songs, I mean, all the music in this movie was really fucking good. And
there's a stark contrast though between what we're getting from one side versus another, right?
There is, and I think that's done very purposefully.
Yes.
And the idea that like there's this shared kind of persecution that both of these cultures faced when coming to America, but also the fact that like they are starkly different, so it just makes for an interesting back and forth.
Yes,
and yeah, them singing like "Pick Poor Robin Clean" is like a very silly thing, but also like genuinely singing these like Irish tunes was really kind of captivating and chilling. A lot of moments in this movie.
What was Dylan's music called? That was it. Grassroots. folky music. What did we call
Bob Dylan?
Yeah.
I believe it was.
No, there's I don't remember the genre that it was that they were kind of because his buddy. Remember when they in the very last concert when Dylan goes electric, essentially is that he's getting away from playing the acoustic, folky kind of.
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly, but that's the sense that I had from it was that they're playing. You've got the blues going on, and they're kind of creating their own rhythm and style, and then you got. Here, these songs are going to go generation to generation. Mm-hmm. That's the contrast I got from it.
Yeah, for sure. And I do believe, like, the first time I watched this movie, the biggest thing I took away from it was this idea of assimilation. Mm-hmm. This idea that, if everybody is on the same kind of playing field and, like, we assimilate all these cultures, then there's also there's something lost there.
Yes.
There's something that you can't get back when you are integrated in that way.
Yes.
Of like, yeah, we talk about equality as this like, great thing that we want to achieve, but there's also this idea that like you're gonna lose aspects of culture that you wouldn't otherwise have if like these people weren't able to celebrate who they are or like what they stand for or where they grew up.
Yes.
Like, that was immediately prevalent to me even the first time watching this.
I'm glad that that's a great way of talking about the differences between the two groups and what the ultimate goal was on the vampire side.
I also just appreciate the fact that we're getting a vampire movie that goes about it in an interesting, unique way, but still retains like kind of the old school vampire rules.
I will say this: is it Coogler?
Ryan Coogler.
Coogler definitely has odes or homages to other horror movies throughout this thing. It is, and I really like you mentioned. It's not we're turning these into 1930s vampires where they're good with holy water and they don't care about garlic and you have to have a metal stake. Like it's very simplistic on like wood stake through the heart. They don't like garlic. Holy water will F them up. They can't see the sunlight. It's like, okay, I like that. Keep the rules simple.
Also,
right?
My favorite personal thing, which is I feel like a vampire rule that I didn't learn until like later in life, the fact that you have to invite them inside.
I love that they played that up too, right?
They played it up in a way that was so satisfying in that like the first time I saw this movie, I didn't quite catch that was what was going on. And then when I did catch it, I was like, oh, yeah, they have been pretty consistent with this as a rule.
That's why. So you haven't seen The Lost Boys yet, have you?
No.
Okay. That's one of the things.
Those are leather jacket vampires.
Yeah, but some of the rules still apply. And that's where I learned about the can't invite them in, you must invite them inside rule. Like I think The Lost Boys really set up the rules for vampires for me. Because I saw it when I was 9 or 10.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Those stuck with me. So like that's what I'm kind of alluding to as well is that a lot of these movies now with these vampires and like it was 28 years later where it's like we're changing the rules, we're evolving, we're making them more dynamic, or we're doing this and that. Sometimes simpler is better, and just kind of leave them on the you can make them a little different but keep the rules the same. It's very easy to follow.
Yeah.
And that kind of conflict there with the invite them inside really plays up in this thing as it serves as almost a buffer for being able to strategize and figure things out as we're going along with the characters, which doesn't invite mayhem until it invites mayhem.
Literally invites it.
Yeah.
And it also allows for a lot of fun back and forth scenes between the vampires and the people inside. What's the actual name of the club? I can't remember. It's like something Juke.
I know. I'm not gonna. You might have to look that up. I cannot remember. I just remember them expressing juke joint. Just kept saying juke joint.
Yeah.
Which also invited like, is this legal or illegal?
Right. It had a specific name, but I can't remember.
I don't know if they call it the smokestack juke joint.
Yeah, maybe. I'd have to verify later.
Right.
But no, I do love that it allows for. Because I'm a sucker for scenes in which like the heroes and the villains just like have a dialogue with each other. That to me is like very interesting and effective. And Remick, played by Jack O'Connell, having these back and forths to me is just like, yeah, this guy is convincingly slimy, but it's also giving me this idea that like maybe being a vampire wouldn't be the worst thing. You get to live forever. You get to hang out with your pals, play music in the fields all day. You have no responsibility. And obviously there's a version of that that's very much negative, and you see it in a movie like Near Dark. But
yes.
I do like how this movie kind of almost tries to make the case that, like, being a vampire wouldn't be the worst thing to happen to you.
There's a little bit of a romanticism with immortality, right? And they play into it. And like I was mentioning before, these vampires are almost sympathetic, right? There is some, even though I may have been missing it as it was going on, being able to reflect on it, that's probably why I was feeling where there is a sense of community with what he's proposing. Like, I don't necessarily think power perhaps, or, bloodthirst, but like also he is very sincere with building this family. And it never feels as if there is a missing card, if you will. That there's something else that he's working towards, like he's got a whole nother goal that he's trying to achieve. Like, that's what I really appreciated about it, was that it feels very almost wholesome in the sense, right, that you're getting this community together. Now, I do like the fact that it's it's built on suffrage and these hurt emotions and kind of where they're at in life, but very original take. And I do think that they're sympathetic in some sense.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
And that makes it a little bit more. It just, with those feelings too, it makes it more fun when you're getting into that final scene, because it's almost like, well, if this happens, I don't know how terrible it will be. It's not like they're going into Dante's Inferno or Limbo, right? I mean, there is a sense of you're losing some of that emotionality of being a human around what you're able to experience, right? And, the first and the last of the world, right? Because essentially, and I loved at the end when is it Stack?
Yeah.
Stack with Haley Steinfeld, and they go in and Buddy Guy, like, this is what did the cherry on top for me of this whole movie, with all the action, and we got vampires, and there's so many themes going on. Is at the very end, they're sitting there. There's a certain respect for one another, right? A certain respect for a brother, right? And then he goes, at that time, that was the greatest day of my life. And then Stack comes out and says, "Me too." And then he hints these were the last.
It's a very nice human moment between characters in which two of them are technically undead. And yes. I enjoy the fact that it's not framed as this
it's a showdown, right?
Yeah, they're back, and I've got to have my secret golden pistol underneath my guitar.
Yeah.
And then he slings it out and shoots them both or whatever, and they've got wooden bullets or some shit.
Right. Well, he had the same guitar with the silver strum or whatever that is right there. And I was like, he's going to break this thing open and start going at him with it.
Right. And as much as I gave Buddy Guy a little bit of guff for a line delivery that he had that didn't feel like it was in line with the fabric of this movie, he ultimately sells the fuck out of the scene when he caps it off with the song.
Yes.
And they have that exchange.
Yes.
Where he says, I still lie awake at night thinking about that night.
Yeah.
But before the sun set was maybe the best day of my life.
Yeah.
And he says, I agree. It was the last time I saw my brother. It was the last time I saw the sun. It was the last time we were truly free.
Yep.
And even, me saying that now, as someone who's not an actor, who is just a little bastard boy, I had chills just now thinking about that line.
Same. It's very touching. It's a very human element between the living and the dead.
So what did you think about the Ku Klux Klan element in this movie? The first time I watched it, I wasn't really on board because I thought it came a little bit out of nowhere. It seemed like it didn't have much to do with whatever else was going on in the narrative. Second time watching this, it made a lot more sense to me because it is about this idea that these people want to take things away from you because of who you are, because of your culture. And it is sort of I don't want to say justifying, but it's making what Remek's message ultimately is makes sense. Of there's people out there who want to take these things away from you. We just want to share it with you and celebrate.
Yeah.
And the final showdown between Michael B. Jordan as Smoke and the Ku Klux Klan, I thought was pretty enthralling.
Oh yeah. Without a doubt. I speaking more to that, yeah, the this omnipresence of someone trying to strip something from you, or just the suffrage that you're experiencing being kind of the symbolic figure of it, without actually having it thrown around in the movie, makes it more enriching for the ending with all that passion and the pain that he's feeling, and being able to see him light everyone up. You know,
it's very satisfying.
Yes, and at the time it was too. There, like I said, I mean, the whole I don't. It makes that, in terms of assimilation and what they represent with that feels a lot more appropriate. For me, on first viewing experience, there was always this air around Jim Crow and, you know, the whites in the movie, and what their ultimate goal was of why they can't be trusted. It's not necessarily because of assimilation, it's because they are trying to take what's ours, right? And so at the end there, I felt it was, maybe, I don't want to say it's not fan servicey, but it a little bit more of like, all right, there's this open sore that we're able to finally close up, right? And have Michael B. Jordan just go off like that, but it actually makes a little bit more sense about how all that pain that he's experiencing, it's almost like catharsism, right, that we're seeing on the screen.
Yeah. It also feels like, and I totally agree with everything you just said, feels in line with what has taken place in the movie, letting off that pent-up rage that you feel from the oppression and persecution that you felt your whole life. It also feels like Ryan Coogler is just saying, like, I fucking hate racist people, and I'm going to have this character shoot them all dead.
To me, it's both. Yes. Like I'm saying, like, it felt more towards the latter of that, but now it makes sense. It's more, I think, evenly balanced. And
for sure.
It's justified, right? And I don't think it's I'm just kind of laughing. I'm like, man, to have that and save that for the end and still have it be prevalent and not necessarily feel like, hey, we're just going to kill these assholes because this is at the time, I'm getting it out for how, my culture was persecuted throughout still to this day, but, for the last 100 years. And this is the genesis of it, right? But now it makes a little bit more sense with that assimilation angle and what the Klan kind of represented. It's not. I mean, we're not even talking oppression. We're talking extermination.
Yeah.
And that it feels appropriate.
Was there anything else we wanted to talk about with Sinners? I feel like this is a very meaty movie in which, like, maybe if we don't touch on everything we could, people might be like, why didn't you guys talk about this? But I feel like we did a decent job of covering a lot of...
one night fucking... It was one night at the juke joint. Like, how much can we... there's a lot crammed in here.
What about... This can be the last thing, potentially. What about Sammy and his dad, who is a preacher? Because there's a lot of, like, religious undertones to... this movie's themes as well.
I don't know. See, now that's another interesting one because I didn't really dive into the...
I mean, the movie's called Sinners.
Yes, I get the... I mean, the whole culmination of this movie felt very bluesy. It felt very much of like how that style of music was growing at the time, right? A lot of that music was... We were getting our emotions off our chest, but we're also kind of talking about the pain and similar experiences that we were all feeling. And I think all of them had something happen in their past that damaged them as people, right? Whether it was, the child or the father, or maybe, so Sammy might not have been feeling the oppression from the Klan, but maybe from his own father with how he was conducting himself. And the whole movie feels like there's this very human element that is getting played into this one night, and the music that we're experiencing, with them being able to kind of let it all go and not have to worry about the cares of the world. And for me, the father figure represented a little bit more of that cultural angle of also we were getting pigeonholed into having to... We're in the church. We're all following my father, the pastor, the preacher, and when he's done, I will take that throne and I will have a kid, and he will take that throne, and we will all congregate and pray away our problems, And right. I felt for him, it was more so of you could speak to oppression with, just even a parent figure, but also being able to stick up and express itself in the culture in the way that he wanted to,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where I didn't really ever in this movie. I won't lie, I never took away and they play on the otherworldly things. I never took away that this was like a heaven and hell scenario or a religious theme from it. It felt like it was more metaphorical in the sense of using that as almost a device of the film.
Yeah. Because to me, it was also, and this is kind of going in line with what you were saying, to me, it was also just like playing music for your church does not allow for this genuine level of expression of pain that you've experienced.
Right.
There is this idea that we need to let God take control of our lives and he will take care of us because we believe that he will do what's best for us.
Right.
And Sammy obviously rubs up against this idea and says, I don't feel like that is genuinely showing the suffering that we've been through, the pain that we've experienced.
Yes.
Blues as a way of dealing with this and like having that as an outlet for
Speaking
expressing
of
that
assimilation,
pain
yeah.
is more or less effective than just like gathering up in this building and closing ourselves off from the world.
Right. And that's where you can lose some of that too, because now while you have your own take on how the sermons and the preaching should be taught and shared, right? It's kind of in your own light, but those get passed down and they never really change, right? Like I believe that's kind of the Southern Baptist Church element with it, and
Yeah, tradition.
yeah, those gospels get passed down, and maybe you get your own little flair on the words themselves, but you're still preaching the same message, right? Whereas with, like you mentioned, with the blues, it's more individualistic.
Yeah, absolutely. Shall we get into ratings for Sinners?
Yeah.
I'm going first.
No, you read it off.
I did read it off.
So
you go
I-
first.
yeah.
For some reason, I thought you read it off, but I'm a silly
I
boy.
get the other one. This is another religious movie.
Mac, don't be. That is true. Yeah, there's that connection.
We
there,
got
I
a theme.
guess.
We got a theme for the week.
Hey,
You heard it.
Hey, they're
You
not
know it.
totally random movies.
Yeah, hell yeah. I knew what I was doing the whole time.
There's
Fuck
a
yeah.
connection.
Yeah, boom. I think I was engrossed right off the bat with this thing. There's some very stylistic shots in this, but also the way that the cinematography is with this thing, with them going down the cotton fields, and it feels so hot and sweaty throughout the whole film. I mean, like you are in that at least environment, right? Even watching it, like I was it was late Saturday night, and I'm sitting there, and I'm in a 70-degree room, and it's I feel all right, and like I'm watching this thing, I was like, I don't know if I'm getting warm just seeing this, but the set designs, the juke joint, it's one night. There's so many odes to different types of horror films. The acting's fantastic. The antagonists, are almost sympathetic, which always adds another layer to kind of how you're perceiving the film and what's going on and who you're rooting for, and just your emotional connection with the film, which I think we lose a lot with usually like actiony horror films. That's like we're taking out the bad guys. I really enjoyed this thing. I think this is something that I could easily put on again. And kind of from a little bit of a new lens with that. Well, I say that, but I definitely it all resonates and makes sense to me with the the cultural and the assimilation aspect, and how do we preserve our own ways of life and our own shared values, and talking about our stories. I really enjoyed this thing, and there was a couple awesome shots. Like did you notice
The aspect ratio.
when it goes into fight and
Yep.
it goes from 16 to 75 or whatever it is?
Yeah, she says, "Come on in, you motherfuckers."
Yeah.
And then the bars just go up.
Get right behind them, and everyone is there looking at that door ready to. It's like a Royal Rumble, you
Yeah.
know? Like literally just, hey, we're all getting in there. I loved it. So I gave this movie a 9 out of 10.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, Sinners.
Whoa.
Is that where they go?
Well, they're not in hell or heaven.
That's true.
Or they could be in hell. I
They're
don't
smoking
know.
a cigarette while a racist is dying in front of them. So the first time I watched this, I thought that this movie was good, not great. I thought it was a movie that was entertaining, had a lot of fun genre stuff, a nice twist on like the vampire mythos, but didn't really think too much of the final act. Thought it was a bit of a rush job. I thought the editing was a little bit choppy at points. This second viewing completely eliminated those concerns for me. This went down super smooth. I enjoy the performances quite a bit. The fact that I was able to really lock into the character motivations, who I cared about, the actual themes going towards the idea that these different cultures are suffering and they're trying to find some sense of either expressing that or dealing with it in ways that may or may not be the healthiest. I love the flow of this movie. This is a 9 out of 10 for me as well.
Whoa! Kind of figured you were going there.
Had it an 8. Raised it up.
Nice.
I raised it on up like those choir kids raised up their hands to praise God.
Careful.
Also, quickly, just want to point out, we went this whole discussion about this movie, and not once did we bring up eating pussy. Because that is throughout this movie.
Yeah, it's
the entire runtime.
I didn't really get why that got thrown in there. Maybe it's just something every man does. I don't know.
Not DJ Khaled. Don't show him this movie.
Oh, is he? He's on record.
He's very much on record. I'm not going to get into gross details,
right?
But he will for you if you decide to look it up.
Delroy Lindo too. I thought was absolutely fantastic.
Yes, we didn't even talk about him. He was fucking great.
I just wanted to mention that this is. Why are you eating my sesame cake? I absolutely I saw him. I go yes, and then the whole time he's on the screen, he delivers a great performance.
Absolutely,
yeah.
You really believe the pain that he's experienced in life. Cool. Well, speaking of pain, we watched a movie called "Let's Start a Cult" that Mac recommended. I might turn myself down a bit. I feel like I'm a little
you went up, and now you're going down.
Yeah, I feel like the editing for this episode might be a bit tricky, but it'll be fine.
Yeah,
it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So if you want to summate this movie that you recommended,
yeah. Wow, you're really making sure that you say I recommended it.
I emphasized it.
Let's Start a Cult, a 2024 film, directed by Ben Kitnick, written by Wes Haney and 2 others. I'm not going to look that up. Starring Stavros Halkias,
who also helped write it, along with Wes Haney and Ben Kitnick.
Okay, I kind of figured that those Wes Haney and so in the movie Chip and William, I kind of figured that they were like a comedy troupe or a comedy duo.
Yeah,
like they go back. Because this film definitely feels like you're getting your friends involved.
I know a little bit about Stavros that I can get into after you're through with this.
So yeah, this is it's labeled as a dark comedy. Essentially, the movie starts out. It's very like Heaven's Gate vibe, right? With these members talking about how they feel and where they're at with the world and what the cults enlighten them to, and they've opened up the 5th dimension of their mind and. They're looking forward to transcending. They're going to transcend time and space. And we get the cult leader on there, William, and he's going through kind of the aspects of the cult and how, maybe not how it was formed, but the journey that they're about to embark on and really leading into this moment that's about to happen. And then we have Chip. I will say it's very SNL sketchy. I don't know if you've ever seen it with the Gosling one and the alien, and they have the 2. Have you seen that one?
I feel like I've seen a screenshot of it.
Yeah,
SNL's not a huge kind of part of my life.
It's me neither. I've just seen the skit.
Yeah.
So, but there's a skit, and there's these, there's this alien abduction, and they got these 2 very wholesome kindred spirits talking about what they experience, and then you have the offbeat comedy, whatever you call that person, the good cop, bad cop, the bad cop. I can't think of what you call it in a comedy duo. The Chris Farley, essentially, not the straight man, but the comic relief.
Yeah,
it's Chip. Comes in, they've given some really otherworldly explanations about how they're feeling, and he comes in and he just goes, fucking sick.
Dude, I cannot wait to go to the other side with you. It's gonna be fucking gnarly.
Yeah, and I laughed at that. I'm like, all right, we're in for a good ride here. Well, things go awry. Fortunately for Chip, he missed out on the transcendence, and we're led into another situation where he's back at home and finds out, he already knew what happened, but now the authorities are getting on it, and he's setting out to find William to figure out what the hell, man, what happened. Goes out, asks about 3 people before he gets on the scent that even the detectives couldn't get onto. Finds William and says, hey, we're getting another family. We're starting another cult. So that's the premise, the lead-in of Let's Start a Cult.
Yeah. Spoilers for Let's Start a Cult. So this is a film that stars Stavros Halkias, a.k.a. Stavi. He's a pretty prominent podcaster. He's on Cumtown. I think that's a lot of what people know him for.
Shocker.
He's also part of a Netflix comedy series, Tires.
That's where I saw him in.
Okay.
So that's with Shane Gillis, and I saw him in that, and I don't know why Yeah.
Oh, Thomas Hayden Church is in that.
Yeah, it plays Shane Gillis' dad.
Interesting.
The show that show is just about of what you need. If you need a pinch of some comedy and a little bit of just turn the brain off, that goes down super easy.
So I listened to a chain restaurant podcast called Doughboys. I don't know if you've ever.
They talked about eating food at different chains,
and I like that show. I enjoy listening to it, especially when I'm at work and I work 10 hours every day, and I have to get used to the monotony by pumping music or words into my head every single hour.
Yeah.
And one of those I'll choose is Doughboys, and they had Stavi on as a guest.
Oh.
I want to say they were talking about Taco Bell, or maybe it was In-N-Out Burger. I don't remember. It's not important. But I really enjoyed him as a guest on that show. I thought he was really funny.
Did he have the same personality that he did in this movie? More or less.
I mean, he's definitely not doing an accent, and he's not impersonating anybody else in this film. But obviously, as a human being, he's more grounded. He's got actual opinions on things. He's not like a cartoon character.
So he was comedic in this. That's what I'm looking more. So was he really prevalent in this thing? Like you listen to him, right? And now you see him on the screen, and you're like, that's the guy I listen to.
Yeah.
Or is he doing something, and you're watching him, and you're like, not quite vibing with what he's selling me right now, his personality. It just seems different.
It's different enough, but you can tell that like him on Doughboys, his dynamic with them is fun, and it offers like a good back and forth of like, yeah, I'm enjoying these people discuss whatever bullshit they put in their bodies,
right?
And he pops up in this movie. I'm like, oh, I liked him on that show.
Hey, it's Stavi.
Hey, it's this guy.
Yeah.
It's Cumtown Boy or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this movie, and there's a few things that I straight up enjoy.
Yeah.
I enjoy the fact that he feels like just a fucking bullshitter in the middle of this wacky ass premise of a movie.
Yeah.
I really couldn't connect with this movie just fundamentally.
Same.
I thought that this was, I don't want to say a chore, and it's your recommendation, so I feel bad about just like,
no, you have to slam it.
Absolutely
I'm slamming it.
Destroying it. And I'm not going to say that I hate this movie outright, because I didn't. But
there's elements.
This movie just straight up does not work for me.
Me neither.
On a humor level. Like,
dude, this is so I'm watching it last night, and there was like at the beginning with the opening scene, I'm like, all right, I'm kind of like, here we go. And then it just turns into there's a frat boy element that I hate about this.
Yeah.
And I can't, like, that humor does not resonate with me.
Like, you're almost ready for Nick Swartzen to pop up at any minute.
Dude, like, just, I cannot, and I didn't know it was going to be like that. And his character in Tires is, he's a little self-assured. You know, there's a little bit of this machismo going on, but he's not as like screaming, physical comedy, smoking weed. Like there's hints of it, right? And I thought that it might be like that in this, and he just is laying out so fucking thick.
In this, it's like cranked up to 11 because there's this element that I think could be fun where he's got a complete lack of self-awareness of the type of person that he is, how people view him, their relationships with him. Because this movie opens, and it's a very bold choice to have the cast of the movie on the poster be the people that die in the first 10 minutes. Like, you don't see any of them besides Stavi or Wes. Mm-hmm. And the fact that there is this immediate dynamic of these people just fucking hate this guy because he's just annoying as shit and, like, so full of himself could be fun if it wasn't in the tone of what feels like a Family Guy cutaway. Like, this feels like something from a cartoon in a way that's just like an Adult Swim animated show that is like premiering at 10 p.m. and then people watch it and they're like, oh, all this is like dick and balls humor.
Yes.
And the parts of this movie that I like the most are when it just fully delves into like absurdism. So like the scene that he has where he's in the bedroom and he's just fucking beating it. He's just absolutely like cranking his hog.
Yeah.
And his brother, played by Ethan Suplee, who is not an actor to brush to the side. Like, he's been in some prominent stuff like American History X and like Wolf of Wall Street and all this stuff. And his brother barges in and he's beating it. And he's like, what are you doing? You're going to be late for work. He's like, I can't go to work when I'm all clogged up. I got to crank it. Yeah. That's the shit that I find funny because it's so out there. It is like, this would never happen in any reality where like someone's brother barges in, yells at them because they're cranking it too much because they haven't gone to work.
Yeah.
It's like, it echoes the scene in Bucky Larson where Kevin Nealon yells at him about the grapes. It's almost to that level of absurdism that I appreciate.
Yeah.
But this movie just can't seem to stick with it. It almost just kind of becomes banal in the way it presents the sense of humor.
More of the same throughout the whole thing.
More of the same.
More of the same throughout the whole thing. Like, we're not looking at certain situations or scenarios on how can we make this absolutely absurd. How can we put this in? I mean, they try a little bit, but it's never
a little bit.
Yeah, but, a little bit. Like, I'm just thinking about the birthday scene. He goes down there and he's like, I'm going to smoke weed with this kid and drink beer. And but they just kind of touch on it. Like, hey, he's here. Now we're going to focus on William trying to figure out, he's in this clown outfit. He's just trying to make $80, and it's so funny because it's like, it's very sophomoric, but in like a high school sense.
Yeah,
I don't think,
like, kind of indie sophomoric. Like, this feels like it would have been directed by Jared Hess before the Minecraft movie.
Yeah, well, and like, hey, like, we're playing this up for 17 to 19-year-olds. Like,
right.
I really don't know what other age group outside of like, I'm a senior in high school and farting's still kind of funny to me.
Well, and I don't want to make it sound like I don't appreciate humor that could be considered like lowbrow or juvenile if it's done in a way that makes
tastefully
sense.
Done.
If it's done in a way that like hooks me in, because you take a show like Always Sunny in Philadelphia, a show that I find one of the funniest shows ever, especially like seasons like 3 through 7, which I consider like its golden period. You take any episode of that show in between those seasons, and it's like the level of absurdism that these characters go to is so extreme that it just breaks me, and I'm able to get behind what's going on because it's like, yeah, what else are they gonna do to like make people upset, like do a scheme, like get one up on someone else, like screw each other over. And that's a fun dynamic to watch. Whereas this, it feels like it starts and stops so much. It like starts to do a thing like the birthday party scene, or like him cranking it, or like him fucking William's aunt's hairdresser, Doretta. And it's like, okay, these could be fun scenes if the movie kept up with that momentum. But then it just kind of doesn't. Instead, we have scenes in between of like William playing on the guitar, or like fucking CM Punk showing up and being creepy out of his RV. And it just,
I actually liked him.
He wasn't bad acting wise. I didn't care for that whole subplot. And
I didn't care for any of the subplots. They were all stupid. Like they were felt like it was just very much sewn together. And it's like, hey, Chip, guess what? You're just gonna be really like an unobservant idiot. You have zero self-awareness, and like the absurdity that you get into is almost, it's going to be laughable because you don't even know like where you're going,
right?
And there's no there's no rhyme or reason behind it.
No, that's exactly it. And I feel like when you have a movie like this where it feels like the filmmakers are treating it like, oh, it's just like some bullshit, whatever. It's like, okay, well, if you're going to treat it like that, at least like hit me with a barrage of absurdism that I can get behind.
I think they tried.
I think they tried in some spots, but didn't in others.
The issue that I have is that we have to make an emotional connection, so we have to build up some of these other characters that are getting involved, right?
I feel like that's where the problems start.
1,000%, because it's like, I'm not going to have an emotional connection because you're supposed to make this absurd, yet we're trying to ground this in a reality that there's going to be a little bit of growth here, right? And that's what takes away, because his character isn't... So the example that you're giving, because I was thinking about that Always Sunny, those people believe what they're doing. That is, everything's done with intent and purpose, and you can laugh at that because you're like, they are so friggin' off the mark with what they're trying to accomplish, but they don't see it that way. But also, like, the planning and the strategy and everything that goes, the conversations and no, dude, this is why, that makes sense. Everyone in this thing feels as if they have some sense of reality, and Chip has zero, and it's like, there's our dancing clown, and they turn it into like, you're going to be a leader of some sort, and it's just, everything is so like, we're just going to hand it to him. There's nothing really hard-earned, worked for. He's not holding the blackmailing aspect over William's head too much,
Right.
And that's where I think they just struggled with they're crafting all these scenarios on how can we do this and that, and like, but these people have to understand and he doesn't, and we have,
right. How do we construct a narrative while also finding an excuse for this guy to be as absurd and out there as possible?
Right. And that's where you get into the birthday party scene, or I like the painting the car. I did laugh at that because that's ridiculous. Like,
It's ridiculous. My issue is that I was fully on board for this movie to be like, okay, I'm not going to care about anyone in this story. If we're like continuing to follow Stavi and he's going to be the guy that shakes things up for normal people, it's like, okay, well then I hope this movie doesn't even attempt to give any form of like narrative connection.
Right.
I'm just along for the ride. Take me away. And instead what happens is you've got this almost like, I don't want to say like road trip hero's journey aspect of like, we're going to collect these
misfits,
these group of misfit toys, and they're each going to have their own quirks. Fucking Soldier Boy's going to be pathetic, Diane's going to be crazy, and then this foreign guy's just going to be funny because, hey, it's weird foreign guy, we don't know anything about him. He just showed up,
he's a hit Joe Smith.
Right. And I feel like when you have that group together is when this movie just fully suffers, because one, I don't care about anybody because this movie has taught me not to care about anybody. But at the same time, you're trying to establish this dynamic of like, yeah, we care about these people as friends. We care about these people as a group.
Right.
I just fundamentally do not. I think it's all bullshit. And I feel like this movie feels like it's all bullshit while still trying to maintain some sense of like narrative connection. It's like, who cares? Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Do not do it.
Yeah.
Like, have these people come and go. Stavi's a force of, like, weird social destruction. And that's where I fully enjoy this movie. And it abandons it. I shouldn't say fully abandons it because there's nuggets of that throughout.
Yeah.
But more or less dilutes it, right?
Dilutes is a weak word for that, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Well, diluting is a weak sort of thing for...
No, I'm saying, like, this doesn't dilute it. This is like sifting. Like, you have a colander, and instead of having tiny holes, you have 4 huge holes.
Yeah.
Like, it is running right through it, and maybe at the very end, there's some moisture left, and you got your drops, but everything else went straight through.
Because the dynamic I enjoy the most is obviously, like, the main two, is William and Chip. Is like these guys who one of them is like completely unaware of the type of person he is. I didn't even like
their fucking dynamic.
I thought it was fine in moments, but again, you don't get enough of it, and you start to focus more on like the group dynamic, and it's like, I don't really like most of these people.
Yeah, you know what they
not that they're supposed to be likable. It's just I don't care about what they do. I don't think they're funny. Right.
That's the whole thing. Like we've got the misfits. Everyone's gonna have their quirk. They all have to be funny in some sense, and if they're not, I have zero emotional connection. Now they're just a burden to the story. I would have been fine if they would have just got that soldier guy and tried to keep recruiting and then just it's just those 3, right?
Sure.
And like you can't, for some reason, they can't get people. That guy's starting to see a little bit more of this cult aspect. He's got to make choices himself on like, where am I at with all this? And it's just those three trying to be used car salesmen and they can't get a goddamn car, you know? And that's where it felt like this thing was written with like, hey, we're going to one scene to the next. And it's going to be all connected in the sense of, you know, some group, you know, some community, right? But no one really cares. And we're going to try to set up these situations that would be really funny. It's just Chip acting like an idiot.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's not doing anything different in this thing.
It's not just Chip being an idiot, though, because there's the other three who are like, oh, they're so misfitty that they have their own quirk that I just don't find engaging or entertaining. So you've got like the soldier guy who's just a sad cuck who wants to join the army, but he's too pathetic. And then you've got Diane, who's like crazy single mom who will like, oh, I'm such a crazy bitch, I'll light your car on fire. It's like the stupid Facebook shit of like, don't mess with me, I'm a mama bear, I'll throw acid in your face, or like whatever the fuck.
I guess, yeah.
And then there was like, the one that I enjoyed the least was like the air quotes strange foreign man who like he's Mr. Foreign Man from whatever country, and
like
we don't know anything about him.
I like Joe Smith the most just because like I was like, that's the most absurd. We picked up a random hitchhiker, his name's Joe Smith, and it's like, you don't know what accent, you have no idea where he's at, but like
sure,
he's just there. And it hit, I guess for me, because I'm like sitting there watching this thing thinking like, how could I make this better? He kept like kind of making me laugh of like, he's the one that fits in the most.
But then I feel like, at least for me, and I don't know if you agree with me, the wind of that is completely taken out when he goes on his monologue about how he was like a spy and how
we have to connect everything.
Right, and how he like had to go, you know, determine whether or not to like assassinate a vice president called Richard Cheney. And I guess this movie implies that Bush did 9/11. I don't know. It's just like a little wink at the camera or whatever.
I could not. I was sitting there. So once again, he starts on this monologue, and I'm thinking like, oh, this would be great if he just went into some really random ass building into the absurdity thing, right?
Sure,
and he does a little bit, but it's still, once again, we're trying to poke holes or make fun of maybe conspiracy theorists. I don't know.
But it goes on way too long, and it's just like worn out for me. It's like that was the point in the movie in which like I'm ready for this to be done. Is when Stabby's like laying down on the beach, and it's just those three having a scene together, and it's like, God, this kind of sucks.
I laughed. I was like, all right, so they are making the correct decision based on how long they've been with everyone, right? And then he makes that speech, and I'm like, oh, they're going the route. They're going the wrong route. They're going the wrong route. You know, and then the soldier guy goes, hey, you know what? You're right. Maybe he was a little flawed, but he's our leader. Let's go save him. And it's like, not even close to earned.
Yeah.
We haven't done anything that makes me feel that you guys would go back and do this. There's no motivation in the world whatsoever. Even from you, Joe Smith. Like, you guys went on a 2-day trip, and the guy's telling you he's going to kill yourself so that you can get, you know, to enlightenment. Like, fuck out of here. So
here's a question for you. We're going to rewind a little bit towards the beginning of the movie. Why, if William was annoyed with Chip to the point where like he sends him out on this bullshit mission and then like fakes his suicide, but like for real has all the other cult members kill themselves, why didn't he just do the same thing but with Chip included? Because then Chip would die and he wouldn't have to deal with him anymore, and then he can just move on to like whatever other thing he was going to do anyway.
I genuinely think that there wasn't an ulterior motive with that until like the comedy's supposed to be like, oh, we are all reaching enlightenment, and then when he saw all those people dying, it made it very real. And I truly I think that the whole premise was he really believed in Garthamalu or whatever the hell it's called. Right?
Yeah.
And they were all going to transcend. Like, I really think that it was supposed to play up where he wasn't like, I'm just going to kill these 5 people. I'd get Chip here and then I'll live. Because it has that scene where he's watching, they drink it, and then all of a sudden everyone starts throwing up and stuff. And he's like, oh my God, like, this is death.
Yeah, so maybe there was the idea that like he truly believed that they were going to move on, and then he saw them all dying and was like, fuck that.
Yeah, and I think and so when he asked Chip not to be there, if you truly believe you're going to transcend into this other dimension altogether as a family, and you're going to be, you don't want that dude with you forever. Because he like, I think before that he's like, dude, we're gonna be together forever and ever, man. Like just you and me forever. And like you could see William being like, yeah, I don't know if I like that idea. You know, like he's like, boy, now that you're saying it like that, so I think that's what ultimately happened.
Sure, okay, that makes a little more sense to me.
Yeah,
because I was like, why if he's just bullshitting this, why doesn't he just kill Chip anyway? But yeah.
I wanted to know because once he goes on this like manhunt once he goes on the manhunt to find him, I'm like, what was this guy like? What? It's not money. Like, why did he? You know. So, what was his ulterior motive? Because I'm with you, kind of like, why wouldn't you kill him and then just walk away from it all if you recognize that? Also, if that wasn't the case, if you were planning this and you were trying to get out before Chip got there, like you happen to think that he would have been gone longer and he caught you, like, what were you gearing towards? So, I mean, that's my best guess at it, at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I did laugh too, like when he's watching these people die and he's like, fuck that. You know, because I was like, that feels like a very like once again, some of the absurdity that dives into like a real reaction, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's what could potentially happen if you're like, we're all gonna do it, and then you see the first guy do it and he's bleeding out and trying to gasp for air, and you're like, oh, that didn't look as pleasant as I thought it would.
What did you think of Wes Haney as an actor playing William in this movie? I thought he was probably the best in terms of performances.
Yeah, he
in my
was totally
opinion.
believable. I liked him.
Yeah, I thought he was genuinely good and interesting.
I didn't like I didn't. Once it got to the end of the film, they had no idea what to do. Is when I started to dislike him.
Right, because later in the story, there's this turn that they go to his aunt's house or whatever. Stavi fucks his aunt's hairdresser in a very fascinating scene, I will say.
That's what I'm saying with like some of the frat boy humor is like everyone's gonna think this is it's absurd, right?
Isn't it funny that this fat guy's getting pegged?
Oh, look at that! Look at him, he's getting choked out, like, and it's
So you got that scene, and then it's like it's very clearly being framed as like, okay, William is recording Chip being the mastermind without having Chip notice it.
Yeah.
And then he like fucks off and sends the video to the news and frames it as, oh, he escaped the cult and Stavi, fucking Chip was in charge of it the whole time. And you've got the, I guess, like confrontation at the end, because like they steal CM Punk's RV because there's this whole thing where like he wants to fuck Diane, and Diane's like, hey, I'm ready to fuck, and he's like, cool, gives a thumbs up, walks out, gets tackled, RV stolen. They go to the cult grounds, and there's the final confrontation, which is just like kind of sloppily put together.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah, and then they finally plug in the
Here's
VCR.
What my question was.
Sure.
He doesn't know that he thinks the tape's burned. Why don't you just wait for everyone to leave to grab the tape, then give it to the cops?
Did William know where the tape was though? Or?
No, he thought it was burned. That's why he kept saying. Like,
you're talking like Stavi should have just waited.
Yeah. Chip, you got there. There's everyone's out there. Like, why do you have to get this right now? To, like,
it feels like it's trying to be like, oh, we have to like race against the clock sort of thing.
Yeah.
When it doesn't need to be that. They could have just like waited in the RV for the camera crew to leave and then submit the tape later.
Yeah.
And been like, hey, you're a lying piece of shit. The reason why they have to do that is because they need everybody there at the same time so William can get a machete through the head.
Yeah. From the raccoon trap.
From the raccoon trap, where the raccoon was stealing all of his valuable oats and berries or whatever he says. And then later the movie finishes like those four are still friends. Turns out William survived, but he's shit for brains, air quotes.
Yeah.
And he's just like mentally disabled in a wheelchair at the end, which feels, I don't want to say like too mean, but just like, okay, like
there's
cool.
a sense of like this movie feels a very sense of the time right now,
which is crazy because this movie came out last year, right?
Well, this has been like woke and all that. It's been the talk of the town for the last 5 years.
Sure, yeah.
So I feel like
as like a buzzword,
right? I feel like this movie is poking holes at both sides. Like it's in the sense of like, I think
Sure.
10 years from now, you throw this on, some of the references or whatever they're going for will not make sense, and it will be even more ludicrous.
It feels like it is definitely of that era of like edgy YouTube videos.
Yeah.
From like YouTubers who were like, yeah, fuck you, man, I'm not politically correct. And then they just like say the R word over and over again.
That's what that ending felt like. It was like, they threw that on there. He goes, shit for brains. He does that look. He looks like Dewey from Scary Movie. And I'm like, why? Why even have that in there? Like, I don't get some of the, like the Cheney thing. Maybe that was trying to poke fun at 9/11 conspiracists. Like, I don't know.
Right.
And it's maybe just because I'm not up with the times. But this felt very more in line with, like you said, an indie comedy. Like, I feel like this is for that underground kind of young male that gets some of these jokes, like probably like a Shane Gillis crowd.
And what's crazy too is that like, so it kind of like fully embraces some of the absurdity of what it established before, like with his family. At the end they mentioned like, oh, they all suffocated in a gravel accident or whatever, because like his family was portrayed as like kind of shitty to him. But
kind of,
I mean, did you see their son? Like, kind of don't feel that bad for him. Anyway, they say that, and then of course like William has shit for brains and blah blah blah, and then he gets to fuck Doretta whenever he wants, and they have a child together.
Yeah,
I can't remember. Did they say he was in prison after?
No, he just became a motivational speaker, and he talks about how
that's right,
difficult conjugal visits are with people watching you.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because like the conjugal, so he did go to jail then.
No, it's for her. She went to jail. She killed 4 police officers.
Oh, yes. That's right. So they say that she murdered 4 police officers. I forget. Yeah. I don't really care is the thing. Yes. I don't really care. This is a movie I don't really care about, Mac.
No. This is a nothing burger.
It's not even like a gag burger. I wanted it to be kind of a gag burger where it's like, all right, at least I'm getting like some novelty out of this.
Well, I thought the premise was interesting with the Let's Start a Cult. We're going to make a comedy about a cult family, and we're going to kind of have this obnoxious guy that I knew a little bit about the premise, and we're going to have this obnoxious guy that misses his transcendence, right? And then he finds a cult leader, and they're going to revamp while he's blackmailing him. I would have laughed harder if they could have honed in on him really blackmailing William into this, and essentially being a hostage in this scenario.
Right. Like, look at what you've wrought through your actions.
Yeah, and it's just this. We're kind of getting we're getting drunk off this like idea of establishing a family and doing all this again, and this guy clearly doesn't. I mean, they don't. They everything's kind of just. I don't even know how to describe it. It just feels circumstantial.
What did you think, and this can maybe lead into an interesting discussion, what did you think of the portrayal of like the cult aspects in this movie? Because I do kind of appreciate that they attempt to like at least explain how that works structurally, because William is very pointed in saying like, oh, they have to meet a certain qualification in order to transcend with us.
Yes.
Obviously, to us, that means you're targeting like mentally vulnerable people who have like a sense of loss of life, or like a loss in life, no purpose, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, well, that's how they usually, a lot of those times, at least from what I've heard, that's usually how it starts.
And you can kind of have like a little bit of fun conceptualizing what it was like for him to meet Chip and like how Chip became part of that.
Oh, dude, he does it in the... Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but when he goes through and he's like, what did Chip do to recruit you? He's talking how he recruited Chip.
Yes.
And he's doing that, and I was like, at first I was like, it'd be really funny if he goes through and he's like, sort of like lambasting Chip on this, and then he does, and I was like, yeah, this is a little... There's elements of humor in this thing.
Yeah, because he says something like, I was like... raging out at like an arcade game or something after
fast food joint.
Yeah, food joint. After I downed 2 double cheeseburgers or something.
He saw... Well, he was saying it as... He was acting as if he was Chip and William was recruiting him,
yes.
And and I was... He's like, I was so stupid and, whatever with how I was acting, and I could just... I just needed someone to guide me, you know. And then he poses Chip as being this ultimate charismatic figure that's like what steeped in knowledge. I was like, I really like this role reversal here on how he's describing this, you know, the events that happen.
Yeah.
But they're like
because you're someone who knows a little bit about the history of like real life cults, and like we've talked about Heaven's Gate. And, that's obviously like a point of interest for you as like a subject matter, is like learning about how these things have unfolded. And I'm not saying that you are going to join a cult.
No, I know that.
I'm just saying that like that is something we have talked about
yes,
before.
It was very interesting, and when the subject gets brought up, I am very curious with how groupthink works and how what a lot of the similarities is preying on lost individuals, if you will, someone that doesn't know their purpose in life or is just looking for like it felt like a little bit of suffrage in this with what's going on, systemic oppression, you know, with how with Diane felt with losing her son, you know, like that wasn't mentally unstable, but more so of I'm trying to do the right things and the system just is not allowing me to do that, while also not recognizing her play or role in that.
Yeah.
But there are parts where it kind of like it. I really did laugh at the military. The guy's walking out. He goes, "Oh, that guy's jacked and looks so cool. Let's get him." He goes, "No, that's not who we want." And then the second guy, he goes, "Oh, that guy's even more jacked. He looks even cooler. We should hang out with him. Let's get him to do it." He goes, "Nope, that's not it."
Right.
Like you could tell, like he's like, "Hey, Chip, like come on." And then the other guy walks out. He goes, "That's the one," you know. And it's like there's comedic out, like there's funny points in it, but then like, hey, let's go ruin it. Like let's show him being a simp and getting, you know, his doesn't realize his fiance broke up with him, and then we're gonna listen to have sex in the next room.
Right.
We play like that. It's somewhat absurd, and also like you guys have hammered home the point. You know, like
yeah,
you know when you get archetypes or tropes, and they're like you don't make them more tropey unless you're just making them ironic of themselves.
Yeah. I'm wondering, like, what's the best kind of cult movie, like movies about cults or like of that subject matter? Because I thought I read somewhere that they're going to make a Jonestown movie.
That'd be interesting.
And they're talking about like Leonardo DiCaprio potentially playing Jim Jones.
That's a wild story,
right? And I'm obviously like you've seen a lot more movies than I have, so I
have not. They're like those things are more fascinating through documentaries and real life. The events of how they transpire, because you look at this and it's like you're watching a train wreck, right? And but imagine you're watching the train wreck, but you could see the engineers crafting the track and watching them mess that up and being like, oh my God. Like, you know, like it's not like sitting there waiting for it to happen at what point. You can see the outline and where it's going wrong at. So I think that's what makes it really fascinating. But when it comes to like cinematic purposes, like I think it's not that this is the best you can do, but like unless you're going to get really dark into a movie about how you kind of manipulate people, like this is like manipulation, it's abuse. It probably stems from like gaslighting. Like abuse is probably or manipulating is probably the most prevalent out of all of this. Grooming, like these are all very toxic words that you use for someone that like, and that's how you see with like a lot of like predators essentially, and that's what cult leaders essentially are predators, and that's why there's a certain target, right? It's not like I can go out and grab this person to join my cult. I am selecting a certain group, and that's where it gets really, I think it's hard to portray that in film. So like
right,
this
especially in a comedy.
Well, and I don't know, like, but I think within a comedy though, a dark comedy sense, you can have fun with that. You can kind of poke holes in this. You could show, if I'm talking about being an engineer and laying out a track, where if I'm the train conductor and I trust the track, right? I don't know when that accident's going to happen. It's funny from an audience member watching it being like, what the hell? And then you can kind of have like these scenarios where something occurs or happens or makes sense, or like the cult leader's got to, hey, what? Transcendence, isn't that just? And then like having him like show his charismatic and his wisdom, I'm like, oh no, it means this, and trying to like, I think it could be funny. Like ultimately I do feel kind of sad that it's something that we would have humor with, but like in a dark comedy sense.
Yeah, I could totally see something of this ilk being like a satirical kind of look at this subject matter in a way that's like, okay, there's like some consistency here with the humor, but also like where we're telling people that like this is something that actually takes place. At a certain point, this movie just feels woefully unconcerned with that. Doesn't even feel like it's trying to be satirical. It more so is just like, what can we do to get a cheap laugh?
Here's the thing, like take Chip's character, right, and how he was and all this thing. If this movie wasn't started, let's call it a cult, but let's start a gang. Does his character feel any more different on impact in that story? Like me personally, no. I feel like that's why this is so it just completely missed the mark, because I'm like, all right, you have these ideas of a cult, and we know how these things are started and the leaders, and yet you're taking a guy that could get fucking, pegged by Doretta in some other film, right? Like if you did Let's Start a Gang, like that scene could easily have happened and it'd be the same impact. It's nothing that's any different. This character isn't any more rich, or his actions aren't any more different than any other scenario he'd be in. So like, while the subject... the subject of the film is like the cult itself and how these things like kind of poking fun at it, it never feels like it even dives into it. It's always just kind of in the background, and it's more of a MacGuffin, if you will.
Right. Despite the fact that the word cult is like front and center in this movie's title, it very much feels unconcerned with that as like an anchor point. Mm-hmm. Like this is just kind of like the framework of what we're going to use as an excuse to do silly bullshit.
Yeah. And we're gonna get a lot of attention because it's like it's dealing with a cult, and we know how touchy those things can be. It's like, I would, you know what? Here you go. You want some like creative thinking with it? Like, give me 50 minutes of Chip being in that community with those 5 people. And let's see how that goes. Of them being like, we were trying to transcend and we cannot get him to leave. Yeah. Like, give me 50 minutes of that, and then give me the last act of him blackmailing it and it going completely wrong. Mm-hmm. Like, right? Like, why not have that and then both of them get their comeuppance? Like, that would be 10 times more funny than the shit that they presented to us.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Was there anything else we wanted to say about Let's Start a Cult?
I'll probably leave it.
Okay. I guess I'm giving this movie a rating first. This is a 4 out of 10. This is a movie in which I feel like there's some glimmers of maybe something that could work, something that I can appreciate the level of absurd humor, just like the absolute bonkerness of it at moments, at like isolated scenes. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this movie is bogged down by lack of interest with its subject of cultism, lack of through line with the type of humor that it wants to convey, in that, do we want to be absurd? Do we want to be juvenile? Do we want to just like appeal to like people who find car crashes on Instagram funny? Like, is that just something that we want to hone in on? Yeah. And I don't know. There's so much about this movie I just could not connect with. I wanted to like it, but at a certain point I just kind of gave up and was just waiting for it to be done so that I could go to bed. So 4 out of 10.
Yeah. I didn't even get, so when did you watch this thing?
Last week Wednesday, I think.
Wow. Okay.
So it's been a minute. That's kind of why I was a little bit fuzzier on some of the finer details, like why he joined the cult, or like what happens at the end, who went to prison, whatever.
When you meet Gago or Mua, you can explain to that person.
Sure.
Why you don't remember it. No. So last night we had football, and the whole day I am going. The All-Star game's on. Baseball. It's got the All-Star game. Sports. And
hell yeah.
Like, I get to watch that, and every time I'd have that thought, I would go, oh shoot, I gotta watch that movie. I'm like, all right, like, it's not that I'm looking forward to watching it or thinking like negatively about it. Just say I have to watch this film. I'm not gonna get home. I'm gonna hang out with Preston for a little bit. Like, I have things to do before I can put it on. I'll probably throw it on at 10. Go to bed at 11:30. Get home, and because I'm ADHD, put on the All-Star game, get Preston to bed, I'm eating dinner, I'm watching the All-Star game. All-Star game ends at about 11:45. And I'm like, all right, time to hit the sack. Oh, what do we got going on tomorrow? Kind of run through that, right? Pod. Fuck, gotta watch that film. Maybe it won't be too bad. I'm gonna have to stay up till around 2 a.m. I have to wake up at 7, 5 hours of sleep, sacrifice.
You're like, I can rough it. Yeah, I've done it before.
Yeah. Like, and there's a fun aspect of the grind. You know, of like, all right, like,
yeah, absolutely.
Like, hey, watching this movie, we're gonna put the pods on tomorrow. We're getting it. You know,
that's why I had so much energy during the Dark Knight recording that I just like I'm fitting these fucking 3-hour behemoths in a fucking day, man.
Dude, like there's that you know, we're climbing Mount Everest here, and I'll tell you that first literally the first thing he says is like, he goes, how do you feel about transcending? And then the first guy goes, and the lady goes, and then it goes up to Chip. He goes, fucking sick. I laughed, and I'm like, all right, like maybe this guy's gonna be a little on the edges. And then it just went straight downhill. Frat boy humor doesn't work. Using the cult aspect to get clicks doesn't work. Trying to connect these characters in a way that you feel that they are some sort of family doesn't work.
Yeah.
The absurdity with this, like, and I know what you're saying, like they try to be absurd in this given the situation, doesn't work. Like there's nothing that everyone seems to be grounded in something. It's not necessarily reality or, you know, disassociation. Like it's just we're in between of like we kind of know what's going on and where we're at, we kind of don't, and it doesn't work. None of this movie really worked. I got to the point at 1:15, 1:20. I was like, oh, okay, it's almost over with. I did laugh a little bit. I think this is a movie that if you did like it, you won't remember much of it except the parts that you want to YouTube.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's probably 3 minutes in here of like I could watch a 30-second scene. I don't even know about 3 minutes. There's probably like a good 1:05 stretch of like the punchline stuff, but no, in the sense that it did not work. Also, real quick, I did laugh at this part because I did have to bring this up at the end. They're all together. They're showing them, you know, celebrating. Joe Smith brings a package for Diane. It's her birthday. Kid pops out, literally on the shirt just says Diane's son.
Yeah, that was amusing. Yes,
I was going to say I did laugh at that, but there's scenes like that just kind of pop up, but it's not earned, it's not rewarded. There's no connection. It's a nothing burger of a film. I will say though, because of the elements I did laugh at, because I was going to go 4 out of 10. I originally wrote 5 out of 10. I'm going to stick with the 5 out of 10 because those elements of me laughing, I did have some hearty chuckles. And in a movie that sucks, if you have those hearty chuckles in there, it's not worth nothing. If you paid $3, you probably got 30 cents worth of laughs out of it. Maybe not the greatest, but that doesn't mean it's a piece of shit. You know?
You had a time.
Yeah. And I probably would have been the same had I watched it at 6 p.m. Actually, maybe not. I might have been even more of like, what am I watching?
Yeah. That was me at the fulcrum of my frustration, which was the 3 misfits having that conversation.
Oh, dude.
I was like fully checked out at that point.
You lasted longer than I did because I got into this thing, and I think by the time that the birthday scene, he goes down there and smokes weed with this kid, drinks beer. The kid doesn't have any lines, right? The William's trying to. I don't know how he saw the smoke. I don't know why there's plumes of smoke coming out of a basement because it's not like you're gonna get that much smoke coming out of a basement with what they're doing, right? Mm-hmm. And it shows a purse, and then it gets the mom back up there, and William's like, "Oh boy, Chip's in trouble." The mom gets in there, and he then goes like, "What do you think? I'm trying to fuck your son? Like, I'm not trying to have sex." And she goes, "I don't know what." And I'm like, at that point, I was like, Kyle's checked out. That's at that point, I was like, he's not gonna like this film.
I gave it a little bit more of a chance. But
did.
It eventually made me leave the hotel because I was checked out.
Oh yeah, like that is you, and that's where I got checked out. So you made it longer than I did, which nice.
Yeah. Had to unclog myself while the movie was going. So, this is usually the part where one of us gives a recommendation for the next episode.
Oh, yeah.
But The next episode that's coming up is episode 100 of the Neon Crew podcast, and we will be discussing the Dark Knight trilogy with special guest Sam Parker. And what's especially great is that episode is already recorded. It's already in the can.
Yeah.
I just have to edit it, which if I piecemeal it, shouldn't take me too long. But look forward to a behemoth of an episode. I can promise you it'll be our longest one yet. And I really had a fun time with you and Sam discussing Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah. It's going to be great. I mean, it's always, I will say the, going into it, yeah, it's probably, the atmosphere might be a little different. Me and Sam, am I allowed to say this or I have to wait till after we air it?
You can say it.
No, we were talking about it at the we had a family event, when Sam was in here, and we started talking about it, and we were both really laughing hard because it was like that was one of the not weirder podcasts we had. Like, it's an enjoyable session, but like we all, I don't think ever 2 out of 3 always aligned. It felt like where I aligned with you'd align with Sam, I'd align with Sam, right? Like, it never felt like all 3 of us got to that, like the Spider-Man one, where we all were in agreement on certain features with it, right? Or even if I wasn't, you two were like hammering it home, and I'm like, oh, yeah, no. But it also, when you talk about good movies, right? Like, I think if I was not on the same page with the Godfather trilogy, like, that's how those sessions go, where there's a lot of, everyone's got their own interpretation, which I think does speak out for the quality of the film. And not to say Spider-Man's any less, but it's the vibe might be a little different in their thing, because I think we're all like getting these ideas out, and I think 2 out of 3 of us always connected on something. But overall, Sam, I mean, I don't want to say overall, Sam enjoyed it. He always loves being on it. He wants to be on again, and that's where we really enjoy doing these things. It's just gonna be it's gonna be an interesting episode to listen to, because I'm also kind of interested with how the atmosphere and the tone was throughout it.
I personally think that it was a really fun time for us.
Yeah.
Hopefully that translates to people listening, because people like Christopher Nolan, people like the Dark Knight movies. So our goal was at least to have a substantial discussion on each of those films in a way that felt in line with what you like about us as personalities, and also what you enjoy hearing discussed about those movies. Mm-hmm. So I guess you guys will be the judge when that comes out.
Put on the movies as you're listening to it. You'd probably be able to get to almost all 3 of them while listening to each segment.
I'd be curious where that timeline lands in conjunction with all 3 films being played back to back. So I'll just say this. Thank you guys so much for listening to episode 99 of the Neon Crew podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and give us some 5-star ratings on each of those other platforms if you haven't already. We're also on YouTube Community, Instagram, and Facebook. So if you want updates on what's coming up, you can find them on those pages in the description. Shout out to Gideon for doing our music. Shout out to Lauren for doing our artwork. You can find their pages in the description below as well. We've got timestamps in the description, so if you don't want to hear our discussion on Sinners because you haven't seen it yet, but you've watched Let's Start a Cult and you want to hear what we have to say, you can check that out and skip to different portions of the video for that. Also, check out our Etsy page. We got some merch for you guys, and I think that's about it. I don't think I left anything out. McLean, what do we say to start this cult off?
As always, WWTHD.
Bye, everyone.